Now understand, my role was restructured our entire office because of the political climate, because of executive orders. And so in that, all the work that I gave you, all the programming that I created and everything else is you couldn't find value.
Right.
You couldn't find any value.
Nothing.
And nothing. And then your comments
of all this stuff, all the stuff y'all got.
Yeah, and then here's the thing, Alfie, is I give you 9 years. In the last 5 years, you want to tell me, and I'm using you very loosely because there was many folks, so I don't want to say just one person.
Sure.
But you want to tell me how great I am. Right. This institution has grown. You have helped the students. You have done this. You have done that. But yet, when I get laid off, you got a lot of credentials. You'll be okay. You'll bounce back. You'll get a job. You'll find something, which is all. Now, that's my pet peeve. My pet peeve is when somebody says to me, you have credentials and you'll find a job.
You'll be fine.
Because they could have found one where you were.
They could have found one where I was.
Yeah.
And so that, that drives me crazy. And I can tell you that is the language that I hear so often is folks say, you're going to be fine.
You'll be fine.
You got all those credentials. Well,
right.
Not when mediocrity is the standard.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that every day, and this is not by accident.
No.
Every day I see someone who looks like us. Yep. That, girl, I was let go last week. Yep. I was let go last month. And not finding comparable roles that they were in. I don't think that's by accident.
Not at all.
I think that is a trend. I think that is data. I think that is hard data. Like, really?
It is data. Because think about this. What's the fastest growing population that's receiving education? Black women.
Yeah.
What's the population that has experienced the most layoffs? Black women.
Yeah.
And so that's not coincidental. But when you start taking the jobs from mediocrity, then I got to figure out, how do we keep you from moving ahead? Because what happened? Everybody know that if a black woman get in the room, she gonna solve the problem.
I mean, right?
You can't tell me nobody that does not realize that. But it's also a threat to those who cannot solve the problem.
Yeah. I said, when my daughter entered the workforce back in would have been 2023 when she graduated college. And, my mom she retired from the medical field. And so I didn't have like a mentor, a coach, right, in sort of a corporate arena, in career pathing, if you will. But Lexi does have that. She has that benefit in me. And, much of what I said to her was, always talk to your manager about what's next, make sure you're getting those development opportunities for your next role. Make sure you're giving value in the company. Raise your hand all the time. Make sure you're out in the community. And I said to her, I remember very pointedly saying, well, if your company doesn't, move you along fast, rapidly, they're not committed to you. Because I know what this looks like.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so it's time for you to move on. Well, my advice is different today, because I just don't know that there are those opportunities. Yeah. And here we are, she's going into nearly her 3rd year in corporate America with no advancement. That makes me sad. I mean, I'm proud of her. She's doing well in the role. Don't misunderstand me. But I don't see advancement. Yeah. But I also am not telling her move on, because there is just not those opportunities that there was. And, I'm also going to say this too. Some of what's going on politically, I feel, as a person in human resources, I'm looking at, fair labor. I'm looking at labor laws. I'm looking at workforce development. And I just feel that, the civil rights as well as labor laws, we're taking a step back.
Oh, definitely.
We sure
We're
are.
taking a step, and I'm measuring my words because Lord Jesus. But I do see some things that make me very nervous in terms of how we advance as Black and brown people.